You're listening to Track Talk with the Racing Boys, brought to you by McCarthey Chevrolet in Olathe, or visit them online at McCartheyChevyKC.com.
Welcome back. Track Talk, Sports Radio 810 WHB and Racing Boys Radio. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, and we want to thank the guy that's giving us a call right now. 3-time winner of the Chili Bowl Nationals, Kevin Swindell, joins the Racing Boys right now. Congratulations, Kevin. Thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, let's just go back, bud. Led all 55 laps last week, an extra 5 laps. First of all, in the memory of Donnie Ray Crawford. First, your thoughts about that, and, man, it kind of dampened everybody in the pits on Saturday when we found out about Donnie Ray, didn't it?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't a fun deal to have added to the the excitement of Saturday, but hopefully we tried to go on as best as we could and just remember him in a way we could, and having the 5 laps was something kind of cool to do, and it's never fun to deal with something like that, especially when the racing community itself is tight knit, and what he meant to definitely the Oklahoma racing world, but that building, whether it be the shootout or the Chili Bowl.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's get into the good stuff, though. You drew the pole, and I think everybody, when they saw that you were going to be starting on the front row immediately, and I don't understand why you weren't the favorite by some. I felt that you had to be the favorite going in to Saturday night, even before the draw, because of your track record of winning 2 in a row. But solidified that you were the favorite once you started on the front row and you led all 55 laps. Take us through the early portions of that. We had 1 yellow flag on lap 14, and then it was green the rest of the way. Did you ever dream in a million years that you would run almost every lap under green flag conditions like that?
No, I mean, nobody really expects that race to ever go that long, especially with the way it's played out, at least the last 2 years. It's been just a lot of yellows, especially last year. So I think a lot of guys go into that race with don't worry about what you do the first 20, 25 laps, because it'll slow down, pack everybody up, and you kind of run the first little bit to get it out of the way, and then run the second as a race, and that probably hurt a couple people behind me, I'm sure.
Yeah, got into the lap traffic right before that first caution. I've got to say, Kevin, masterful job of getting through the lap traffic. That, I believe, was the difference maker, because your dad was putting the heat on you several times, but you were able to click your way through those lappers at a pretty good pace. Talk about the lap cars and getting through those with very little pain at all, really, coming from the lap cars.
Yeah, I mean, I never tried to really get in a hurry with anybody, and just tried to make sure every lap was right, and didn't really make a mistake, because I mean, you can give up a lot of time in a hurry just by getting tight, up top, or just missing the bottom and hanging yourself. And I knew he was going to be with me, and if something was a big mistake, then I was going to be in trouble. So it was just trying to make semi-consistent laps, and just if I was on the bottom and the lap car was on the top, or vice versa, then there really wasn't anywhere for him to go. So as long as I didn't make the mistake, I figured I was going to be all right.
Yeah. Only one mistake I saw through that entire 55 laps. You nearly parked it down there in 3 and 4 that one time running out there. What happened then?
I just got in wrong there and got tight for a second, and you get hung up, and it takes a second to get it to turn and get back going again. And I guess in 55, you're going to have one somewhere in there. It's just hoping you got enough of a gap to not give it away there.
Yeah.
Kevin, congratulations on your 3rd straight Chili Bowl victory. Did the track remain consistent as far as conditions throughout the whole 55-lap run?
I mean, the bottom was definitely a lot better at the beginning, and typically that's how it is, and you run around there for a little while until it slowly moves up. But usually with yellows and stuff, it's a whole different ball game in how you move, and with the way it went there with all the green flags and getting the traffic, it kind of just forces you to go wherever they're not, and really never have to make that decision. So it kind of made it easier on me not to have to choose which place was going to be better, because I think both ends were fairly close, and it was just it's a little bit nerve-wracking trying to decide when you're going to move or when you're not going to move. So it was kind of a good thing that you just had to go where the lap cars went.
Did the fact that they added 5 laps to the race in honor of Donnie Ray Crawford change how you set up the race car for the finish?
Not really. It's 5 really doesn't do a whole lot in the grand scheme of things there, and it's you don't use. It really doesn't change the fuel or anything, so there's really not a whole lot you have to compensate. It's just 5 more. You got to stay in front of those guys.
Yeah. Talk about late in that race, your dad made a final charge on you. I think he got together with Brad Kuhn, if I'm not mistaken. Seems like that's who it was when they were going down the front straightaway. He got pinned up against the wall, and he hopped a wheel, and that put a little distance between you and your dad there on those final laps, which basically it was lights out at that point. But right up to that point when he got together, did you feel the pressure he was putting on you in those final 5?
It's just early in the race there, I could watch the screen and see that he was with me, so I knew he was, I know his car's as good as mine, and it's just a matter of if he didn't get through the traffic or did he. So, I kind of got busy there for a little while, and I think the first time I looked up, it was like lap 40, and it's kind of like, wow, this went by quick. So it's just I really didn't stop and mess with the shocks and mess with anything. I just kind of really just got focused on what I was doing and worried about the traffic, and just kind of quit worrying about what was going on around me and just worried about where I was going.
We talked to your dad after the race. Amy was down there in post-race interview, and he said that he felt that whoever got out front first, you or him, had the best chance of winning. Do you feel that it would have been difficult to pass? Obviously, your dad, one of the greatest sprint car drivers, open-wheel drivers that's ever strapped on a helmet. But do you feel that you had to beat him on the start and get out in front in order to really have a chance to win this, knowing that if he gets out in front of you, he's going to be difficult to pass?
Yeah, it's definitely, our cars are basically exactly the same, and, I don't think we weigh any different or sit any different any more than we used to, so it's they're almost dead on identical, so it definitely would have been tough to beat him if he was out front. But I don't think we're exactly the same race car driver, so who knows exactly what would have happened if I'd had to chase.
Yeah, it always seems to me, and I think I mentioned this to you yesterday when we were speaking, that man, you seem to really work the top as well as anybody down at the Chili Bowl. Your dad, he loves to bottom feed. He likes to be that catfish. He's down there on the hub all the time. And not saying he can't get it done up on the high side, but his preference is down, I believe, down on the bottom. But you're really comfortable working the high side. Earlier in the week, that played into your advantage too, didn't it?
Yeah, that's typically where that racetrack ends up. They do a heck of a job here the last 3 years or so, and giving us a 2-groove racetrack pretty well. But normally it ends up being where the top ends up being the place to be. But I've just typically I've won a lot of races in my career on the bottom, and been kind of a guy that snuck around under everybody when nobody could kind of get around down there. So to be the guy that's pretty good on the top of the racetrack is a little different for me, but for whatever reason, I seem to get around up there pretty good, and the Race of Champions kind of showed that when it probably wasn't as good as the bottom, and still was able to make some speed up there.
Kevin Swindell joining us. He won his third straight Lucas Oil Chili Bowl championship. Nobody has ever done that in the 26-year history of the Chili Bowl.
Nobody's ever won 2 in a row.
No.
Right? Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I mean, you're making history down there. Talk about how important these shock packages are to the setups of these race cars. It has really become very prevalent over the last few years, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean that's really become where your the entire game is. You know, it's I know even with the the sprint cars and everything we've done the last few years, it's kind of just your bars and such are all pretty basic, and there's really not a whole lot you can gain in the tires or in air pressure. Everybody's kind of in a very general ballpark with that stuff, so it's and that's your biggest thing, and then just all the little details of getting everything square and getting little things in the right place. But the shocks are definitely probably at least 70% of what your cars are going to do these days.
All right, before we let you go, I got to ask you, a lot of people are wanting to know, you're down in North Carolina right now. You've won your 3rd driller in a row. You are one of the hottest young drivers in the country when it comes to accomplishments because of that. Is the phone ringing, and what's going on with you for your plans down south in 2012?
Nah, just, this stuff really doesn't carry any of the clout it used to. I mean, well, it does, and it definitely is something big, but, it used to basically just give you an automatic seat, somewhere down here. But, these days it's just all, if you got the money and how much you can bring, and that's just something my family doesn't have, and we're not really, we search every day for with sponsors and people, but it's just it's tough to find.
Yeah. So nobody's talking. Is there any chance for any truck race, nationwide races? Is there anything going on in that department at all right now?
Yeah, I mean, there's talk between a lot of things. It's just if you can
come up with some money,
sponsorship or stuff. Yeah, I mean, nobody's just going to jump out of pocket with it, and sponsor stuff's just hard to find these days. So there's a lot of people that we've talked to that wish we could do something and get going, but it's just a matter of getting the sponsor together.
Is that frustrating for you, Kevin? I mean, with the accomplishments, knowing that in the past, in the day when guys were, talented drivers, that were coming along, Clint Boyer comes to mind as a young guy that didn't have to bring money. Carl Edwards is a guy. But those were the last few guys that did that. I think David Gilliland might have been the last guy to do that. Is it frustrating for you that opportunity hasn't opened up because of your accomplishments?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it sucks sitting around here, and especially when you watch some of these guys that
are out there
really don't have anything that are getting to do it. Yeah. But you just kind of keep plugging away, and it's even more frustrating in the little bit of the stock car stuff I've done. I've definitely in my opinion, it felt like I've been as good as anybody in those things in the little bit that I've done it. So if just get a consistent shot and a good piece, then I think it all take care of itself from there. But it's just a matter of getting that shot.
Well, we'll preach the word and the gospel about you up here in the Midwest, bud, because we believe in you. You're one of our open wheel guys, and we are proud of what you have done, picking up your 3rd driller in a row at the Lucas Oil Chili Bowl Nationals. Final question: has it set in that you've done this, that you've won 3 in a row, and for you personally, how do you feel a week later after picking up that 3rd driller?
It's cool. It's I don't know. It's just a different thing. It's like the first one. It was kind of a dream come true kind of thing, and you never really think you can do it. And then last year was just crazy in its own right, and being the first one to do it 2 in a row in the build-up. And then this year it was kind of just, everything was down. There was no big deal. It was like, if you win, you win. If you don't, it's you had a good run here. And so definitely it was cool. It probably doesn't live up to what the first and the second one does, but it's pretty awesome. And to basically have dominated that place for the last 3 years is really cool.
Is your dad getting a little frustrated by you beating him all the time now?
Yeah, it's. I think it's definitely got to a point that it's not cool to get beat by his kid anymore.
Well, congratulations, and you know what? You are creating your own legacy, and it's always going to be Kevin Swindell, the first guy to win back-to-back. Oh, by the way, the first guy to win 3 in a row. I think you got a good chance of doing it again. Your program seems to be sharp and consistent every year when you guys show up down there. Kevin, thanks so much for being on the show. Again, congratulations, man, and hopefully we'll see you driving something soon, all right?
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, good going, Kevin.
There he is.
Kevin Swindell.
Yeah. Good guy, man.
Very impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime you see a driver work lap traffic, I mean, you got all that many. I mean, they went 41 green flag laps after that only yellow flag when Bud Kading's car slowed on the racetrack. And that's not an easy thing to do on that little racetrack inside the Tulsa Expo Raceway. We're talking about about a 5th-mile racetrack, working lap traffic with 24 race cars around that track. That's pretty difficult, and he did a very good job.
Yeah, well, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if he wins 4 in a row. Got a lot of speed in that car, and he touched on something that we talked about in the broadcast, and I know we got to get to break, but we talked about it. The advantage to Swindell's, and I said it on Saturday, their shock program.
That's it.
And Sammy has got something going on because I saw what he did with his brother Jeff when we showed up out at the Western World. He built his shocks in between Las Cruces and the Western World, and all of a sudden Jeff's car picked up all kinds of speed. And again, he told me, Jeff himself, that Sammy tinkered with his shocks a little bit, and that improved his program.
And it's not just the midget cars, because Sammy's been really good in the sprint car here over the last few years.
Yeah, that's right. All right, again, we want to thank Kevin for being on the show. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of Track Talk, brought to you by McCarthey Chevrolet. Check them out at McCartheyChevrolet.com. We'll be back.